first started on Airbnb, I was terrified that I would lose money, have problem guests, and struggle to keep my units clean. But now after 3 years and over 500 guests, I know what fears actually came true and what's not worth losing sleep over. So in this video, I'm going to go over the mistakes I made, the Airbnb tips I now have as a result, and the money that I've earned in that time. Not learning quickly enough what type of guests were likely to leave a negative review. There are 3 types of guests that are likely to leave a bad review, and you can actually spot some of them before they book and prevent them from staying in the first place. The first is the overly inquisitive guest. They will ask you a ton of questions, and what I have found is that these guests tend to see staying in your home as more of a transaction rather than a guest experience. They also tend to be overly critical. So when I get these guests, I'm polite, I answer their questions, but I do not encourage them to book because Airbnb does give you that option. I just let it be. The second kind of guest is the discount guest. They'll say they want to stay in your place, but can you give them a little discount? Absolutely not. Discount guests are just entitled. They're also very transactional. They tend to be very nitpicky. But here's the thing, I also think it's fair to charge all guests the same price. Not that I don't give discounts, I just bake that into my pricing strategy. The third type of guest is the silent guest. This guest has already booked and they don't respond to any of the automated messages. Now, it's not a rule. I don't get a negative review from them every single time, but more often than not. There's nothing you can do about this third type of guest, but certainly for the inquisitive guest and the discount guest, try to prevent them from booking in the first place. The next mistake I made was not properly investing in my business. I invested in myself from the beginning by taking a course on how to be a great Airbnb host, and that made a huge difference. But what I didn't do was make sure that my listings were always competitive by adding big ticket amenities. There's been a trend recently on Airbnb where backyards are really becoming the thing, and I avoided doing that. However, in this last year, I did add a hot tub, and there was a noticeable difference. In January of this year, my bookings were sky high, and it was because of that hot tub. So now I'm going all in and doing everything I can to make my backyards more of an entertainment space. The one thing I learned over time was investing more in making sure that my properties ran smoothly. I did 2 things. I paid for a landscaper and I paid for someone to take out the trash and the recycling. That way, my outdoor space is always inviting and I don't have to think about it. Because I got good education, I did adopt some best practices early on. The first of these is to make sure that the design of your interior is immaculate. For my first unit, I hired a stager, and until my most recent units, that was my best performing unit. I also always hired a new photographer. But what I didn't do was hire a new photographer when I was unhappy with the photos that the first photographer made. One of my photographer's photos were a little bit grainy, and they just weren't as sharp and crisp as I wanted them to be. So now I don't hesitate. If I'm unhappy with the photos, I will hire a new pro. This lesson, it took me a little bit of time to figure out, but not every property and not every neighborhood is right for an Airbnb. For example, if you're sharing walls, you've got potential problems before you even start. Your neighbors could cause noise, or your guests could cause noise, and you will get the complaints. Parking. If you don't have on-site parking or ample street parking, your guests are likely to complain and give you a negative review as a result. In fact, one of my most recent guests just gave me a 4-star review because she had to walk 5 minutes to the home. The third thing that could make a property or a neighborhood challenging as an Airbnb is if you have neighbors who hate having a short-term rental nearby. I used to co-host a property that had a neighbor who was frankly awful. She harassed me, she harassed my guests, and over time I just couldn't handle it anymore and I let that property go. So do what you can to make sure that your neighbors are not going to be an issue. You can offer to do nice things for them, such as take care of taking out their trash and recycling, so that they feel ingratiated and want to do you the favor of being a good neighbor. Another lesson that I learned over time is that you have so many different systems that you need to set up because your systems will save you. The first of these is your cleaner management system. I didn't have one of these when I first started, and boy, did I pay for it. Your cleaner is the person who's going to make sure that your property looks exactly like it does in the photos. So if you don't have a system to manage the quality, the schedule, you are setting yourself up for a dirty unit and miscleans, both of which happened to me. So now I require time-stamped photos. I do walkthrough inspections and I send my cleaner notes if there's anything out of place or anything that isn't fully cleaned. And every week I confirm the schedule with my cleaner to make sure that she is going to be there on time. The other lesson around cleaning management systems that it took me a while to get is if your cleaner isn't performing after you've tried multiple remediations, you need to fire quickly. After firing my first cleaner after a year, the second cleaner I brought in after a month, she wasn't doing well and I had to fire her. It was definitely a scramble trying to find a new cleaner, but I did, and I incorporated all of the lessons that I had learned up to that point, so that cleaner is frankly perfect and she's still on board with me. The second lesson, which frankly I did right away, which I cannot underscore enough, is to have a property management software. Yes, even with one property, because it is going to coordinate your schedule for your one listing across multiple platforms, Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com, so that you can have lots of different opportunities to have your home booked and you don't have to worry about double scheduling and guests from different platforms booking the same dates. It's also going to coordinate communication with your cleaner so you're not having to text them every time you get a new booking. A good property management software also integrates with a smart lock. So when a guest books, your property management software will take their information and create a unique code automatically and then include that in your check-in confirmation so you don't have to do a thing. A money management system. This one was a very hard one lesson. The free accounting software, it's just not sufficient. I tried using Stessa for like the first 2 years and it doesn't provide the right kind of information that your accountant needs to file your taxes. I remember once like crying over the reports because I couldn't get it. So bite the bullet, pay the $100 for QuickBooks. QuickBooks, if you're watching, why so expensive? Pay the $100 for QuickBooks, pay a bookkeeper to set it up for you. That'll cost you a couple $100 and pay them to train you on how to reconcile your accounts every month and run the right reports. That's what I did, and I have absolutely stress-free money management. The thing to keep in mind here is that bookkeeping/accounting is very different from budgeting. So I have two different softwares. QuickBooks for my bookkeeping and accounting, and You Need a Budget for my budgeting. And in my budgeting system, I am able to allocate my money to all of my bills, to payouts, to taxes, to anything I need to use my money for. I am able to divvy it up in You Need a Budget, which is basically like the envelope system, where each dollar has a job. Another kind of system is a maintenance system. If you want to ensure that you're getting 5-star reviews consistently, you need to make sure that your property is frankly perfect, inside and outside. I do regular walkthroughs of my property with a checklist, and I'm checking for the quality of clean and making sure that those items that my cleaner doesn't touch on a regular basis are in good condition, clean, and inviting for guests to use. Next, you're going to need a continuous improvement system, and this should be based on two things. 1, your ratings. 2, your occupancy rate. Based off of your ratings, you'll need to have a process where you are looking at your reviews, what guests have said, and making any changes as a result. For example, one of my early guests gave me 4 stars, saying that it was tough for him to sleep at night because of the noise from the street. And while that's certainly something I don't control, I did 2 things. I bought white noise machines for every bedroom, and I got earplugs. The way to think about a negative review is to think about it as feedback. It doesn't mean that you are a bad host or that your homes are terrible. There's just something for you to address. As you can see, I've learned a ton over my 3 years, but now let's see, how much money did I make in all that time? Keep in mind, this is the gross income. Over 3 years, I have earned $402,300 in gross revenue. Let's talk about how I did year 1, year 2, and year 3. In year 1, I earned $77,547.77 in gross income for the year, which comes out to $6,462.31 per month on average. In year 2, I earned $119,963.93, which comes out to $9,996.96 per month. That is a 54.7% growth rate, which is, I don't even know. I would say the biggest difference between year 1 and year 2 was the seasoning of my portfolio. So it just took time for my units to get enough reviews, enough 5-star ratings for guests to trust that they were going to have a good stay. I also started to get repeat guests in that same time period. And in year 3, I earned $120,015.16, which comes out to $10,001.26 per month. That was steady performance from year 2, and I will say there was a significant economic downturn in that time. Holding steady, I'm actually really happy with that. And in that time, I also added a hot tub, which kept my winter bookings really high. Owning an Airbnb business is a really active pursuit. And if this is something that you're thinking about getting into, or you're just starting out and you want to grow, you need to think about whether you actually have the time to pour into this business. With the right systems, it's really easy to grow. I went from 1 Airbnb to 5, and I'm now an Airbnb host full time. I left my 9 to 5 almost a year ago. So I'm living proof that if you have what it takes, you can really run a successful Airbnb business. It's all about providing a great stay for every single guest. If you're thinking about starting an Airbnb or you're new to Airbnb hosting, hit subscribe and the notification bell so you know every time I upload a new video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.